All right, in this week's episode of Whitetail Cribs, we are going to Dan Thurston's house, and you get to check out the 45-mile collection, which are all from Dan, his son Cody, or friends and clients from over the years. Dan has been part of Bow Madness with the Druries for a very long time. You get to hear all the stories, check out all the deer. We hope you guys enjoy the episode. Here we go.
Hey, come on in here. Welcome to Kansas. Hey, I'm Dan Thurston. This is my son Cody, and welcome to the 45-mile collection. I call these the 45-mile collection because about all the whitetail taken in here, well, all of them are taken within 45 miles of this building. So kind of came up with that theory back in '99. I started doing some commercially guiding and decided at the time that, it'd be nice to have a rendering of actual deer taken in the area. So this is the 45-mile collection in Kansas. All these deer on the wall I've not taken, nor have Cody, but they are all from people that are around the area. I've done some gun trading, purchased a few, traded hunts for them, all kinds of stuff. And also there's been some friends of ours that were getting a divorce and their wives just wouldn't let them have the deer in the house, so right over here is one of my pride and joys down here on the lower level. That deer scores 193 inches. Taking him on film with my cousin Troy Dawson. We were over at Troy's and we had a lot of information on this deer, but he just wasn't coming in quite regularly. So, of course, baiting is legal in Kansas. We kind of upped the corn pile amount, and he started hitting it every day. So we went in and hung a set and killed him the next afternoon. So it was an amazing story, and what a great deer. He just, I was beside myself that day. One of the funnest ones I think I can remember. But.
Well, this is my biggest deer to date. And I shot it when I was 17. Young at the time, I didn't know what I shot. I was out with Dennis Tyson. It was opening day, pouring down snow in the morning. And we hopped in he's got an old barn that my dad and him finished. And we were lucky enough to be able to crawl up on it. And as soon as it got light enough, that deer he was already in the field. And I didn't know what it was. Dennis just said, shoot him. And I just was hesitant. I thought my dad might be mad because I didn't know how big he was. And I didn't want my dad to be mad if he was too small. But turned out I hope he was big enough. But that's definitely one of my most memorable hunts for sure. So 181, I got spoiled and don't know if I'll ever
I
get
recall,
one bigger than that.
I recall now, Cody. I sent you over there kind of just because I wanted you to hunt, but yet it was a little too far to travel. It was right at that 45-mile range one way. So I sent him over there just kind of get him out of the way because I was still commercially hunting at the time. And when he came back in the driveway with that deer, oh my gosh, all the people said, why didn't we get to go there,
I won that hunt on a ping pong game. Dennis said, if you beat me at ping pong, I'll take you hunting. So I don't know. I imagine he'd let me win, but
there's a lot of nice deer here. We actually, this one in the corner, a friend of mine had mounted it. And I want you to see the pedestal work on it. It's all stainless steel, TIG welded, the bases and mounts, and it rotates. It makes a really cool mount. And my friend Bunch, we call him, Dave Hale, mounted that deer in Pennsylvania and then shipped it to us. So that deer there, we actually found in a draw dead. So I'm not taking that deer, but what a phenomenal deer. It scores over 200 inches. So we're talking nearby counties. I live in Greenwood County, and we got Chase County, Greenwood County.
Wiedmer buck.
Yeah, the Wiedmer buck, taken in Greenwood County. The next one is 212 and 7/8 is the next one to it. Not a lot of these deer I know the scores to because I've not harvested them, but a lot of them I have. But the thing about here, we look at maturity versus score. You know, if it's an older deer, you know, we like to start at 4 and 5 years old minimum. They kind of are what they are by then, we feel. Now, there are some deer that blow up at 7 and 8 years old. Guys would argue with me, but in this particular part of the country, it seems like at 5, they're probably what they are. So my friend John Wiedmer took that deer. He came over here and said, well, it's a pretty nice deer. It's laying out back here. John's real gruffy voice. Anyway, he says, better come out here and take a look at it. He said, I'd probably never mount it. He said, you know, I'll just sell it to you for $300, he says. I said, oh, well, John, that'd be a good one for, you know, the 45-mile collection. So that's how that deer came upon. So John Wiedmer took that one. Yeah, these are pretty cool right here. Our Drury Outdoors fall meetings, we would have a passion award given to various team members. And these were given to us by Toxie Hayes from Mossy Oak, and this is part of the Passion Award at Drury's. We used to have a fall meeting where everyone would gather. Now we do Zoom meetings. What's up with that? But, you know, sign of the times. Speaking of times, I'm 65, and Cody's going to be the next Bow Madness. I'm kind of phasing myself out, and Cody's going to be the next Bow Madness participant. He's already taken some really nice deer. You didn't show him that.
I think you'll be on a crutch and still be able to shoot the old crossbow. You'll be just fine.
Well, I hope not.
We'll get you to stand one way or the other.
Yeah, like this deer right here. This is a cool deer here. The rack is enormous. The story behind it is I took it and the cape to a taxidermy, and he mounted the wrong cape on the wrong deer. And when I got it back, I'm going, what in the world? I mean, that was one of the biggest deer as far as its body size I ever have shot in my life, and look what I got back. So I'm not gonna slam all taxidermy guys. I could have gotten redone, and he did offer to do it, but you know, it is what it is. I can tell the story, but that deer was 33 inches right around the neck, right here. And look what I got back. I hate it when that happens. So now I've gotten into dipping skulls, you know. Actually, I found this deer just last year. Yeah, on a property just right over by our house here. I got into dipping, skull dipping, and then I have another process that's kind of a unique one. I use, I'll take pampas grass, the tops of pampas grass, and literally spray the top of a pampas grass, you know, your decorative grass, yard grass, and I start beating them. So it's a little something different than dipping, you know. Yeah, Jerry Tibbett, my friend, bearded
Pennsylvania
buck.
buck.
Yeah.
8.
Yeah, Jerry invited me out. Like when I turned 60 years old, I couldn't believe it. Now I'm 65. So I did a series called 6 at 60, and that's where I shot 6 deer in 6 states on my 60th year. So Jerry Tibbett invited me to Pennsylvania. He has a great facility. I didn't know anything about that. And the very first time I go to Jerry's house, I got car sick because it's in the mountains, and we're going up and down through the mountains, running all around crazy. And when I got to his driveway and the guy stopped, here's this giant driveway with this huge house and just an enormous place, just fantastic facility. And I didn't know Jerry had any of this. I'd never been to his place. I got out and puked in his driveway right in front of him. So first impressions are everything, right? Jerry still laughs today. He had 2 cameramans going, and there I am hurling on his front step. You know, what is wrong with people? But anyway, Jerry was gracious enough to let me hunt, and that deer scores in the 150s.
40s.
140s, I'm sorry. Yeah, I can't remember all these
Stretch
stories.
too far.
But anyway, that was a great day. I made a good shot. It was 46 yards I shot that deer. And we let him lay and found him the next day, and made a great story. So yeah, I had t-shirts made up and everything. My 6 at 60 tour.
Yeah.
Jerry Tibbett really helped me that year, and I appreciate it. This is a really cool photo. Cody had gotten this done. The company had built this for us, but we'd taken both these deer within an hour of one another on the same day. Cody was hunting and self-filming, and I had Cody's friend with us, and he was filming me for my 6 at 60 tour. And I took this deer, Ned, we called him, because he's now 4, and he's smaller at 4 than he was at 3. So Ned stands for nothing ever really developed. So I killed Ned, and what did you name that deer?
I don't know.
Stubby or something like that. He had a name
probably
for him. But it was a great day. We killed him within an hour of one another and made a great Bow Madness episode. So, yeah, you know, the buffalo, I went to Hoxie, Kansas, and shot that buffalo, and we ate on him. He was like 1,800 pounds. He was a big one. Look at the size of his torso.
And
anyway,
the mountain man that.
Yeah, this mountain man guided me. I can't remember his name now, but he had on the leathers and the leggings and all the. And as soon as we gutted the buffalo, he grabbed the heart and drank the blood out of the heart, and then handed it to me like I was supposed to do that. I told him I'd seen that before, but I just thought I'd pass. The elk are from Colorado. I was out there luckily to harvest a couple of nice elk, and mule deer from Wyoming, but it's all about whitetail. That's what we love, and that's what we chase. Cody's become a good predator hunter. We've got some great encounters and kills with coyotes, and they call me Gato Dan sometimes, Bobcat Killer. I bought this place in '95. Of course, this building wasn't here at the time. '97, I believe, was the first year for some non-resident hunting, so I got this brainstorm to, I was going to do some commercial guiding, and we did for 13 years. So built the lodge and added on the bunkhouse immediately 1 year later, and culminated into quite a large entity. We had 3 full-time guides, and we leased about 20,000 acres. So it made a lot of work. I did it for 13 years, met a lot of cool people. And back in the 90s, a friend of mine brought Mark and Terry down here, and I didn't even know who they were, never even heard of them, And they wanted to muzzleload hunt, so got them a muzzleloader deer. Took them about an hour to get one. So they thought that was all right. So they came back the next year, and that was been since 1999. So time flies when you're having fun. The wooden plaqued editions are all my friend Dennis Tyson's from Waverly. I'm not taking every deer on the wall here, but they are all from within 45 miles of this building. So that one there, Dennis, scores about 202, 201, I think it was. Dennis shot that one in his t-shirt and blue jeans when he was like 18 years old. So it just goes to show you deer hunting's come a long ways with equipment and gear and all the things we think we have to have that, well, we don't always need it, but heck, back when I started hunting, we didn't even have trail cameras. You just merely looked at sign, tracks, and I'm telling you really how old I am, aren't I? Yeah, Dennis.
One of the biggest mainframe 8s.
Oh yeah,
out there, I'd say.
It's giant, and but I can't tell you how much it scored. I think I knew at one time, but I should have had my homework done better. But anyway, we do a lot of walking for sheds. It's a lifetime of walking. Cody does a lot, so it's kind of great to have some new knees in charge now. So Cody's kind of taken over. How about these sheds right here, Cody? These were awesome. We found this deer 2 years in a row, just an insane 8, and we found both sides 2 years in a row, and he was within an inch, I believe, of 1 year to the next. He didn't change that much, but we've got both sides, both years. And we had them scored. I think it was, what were we basing it at? 66 and 5/8.
Not big enough.
Well, they're never big enough now. That's the problem. Everybody's got to have giant deer. Well, we're our own worst enemies, trust me. Yeah, this one here, my cousin Troy, his dad was cutting firewood, and this thing is just sick, Look at the mass. His length was null and void, but what a great deer just to be cutting some firewood and fine for a bonus. How about it? Yeah, this is an interesting 8-point. That's probably one of the nicest 8-points you'll ever find. And I was south of here at a truck diesel shop, and this deer was on the wall, covered in diesel soot. And I said, it's a nice 8-point. Would you want to sell it? And he said, well, it's about 8 o'clock here this evening. He said, if you'll run to the Pizza Hut and get me a couple of pizzas, he said, I'll just give it to you. I did that for him.
Pretty good trade, I'd say. Just the stack that's too small to make the lodge wall.
Yeah.
But aren't mountable.
But too nice just to be in the pile.
Yeah.
So these are what you'd call our second best showing.
Yeah.
So my friend Steve and Lawrence had taken this 8, and he said he wanted me to use KU colors when I dipped it. So I dipped it in KU blue and some red. It's a little dusty, but it's a nice 8-point. Anyway,
that's okay.
Hey, these are interesting right here. Kim Klotz, my neighbor Kim Klotz.
Using those as rattling antlers.
Yeah, he was using these for rattling antlers.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously. He said it broke in two and he didn't think he'd get it mounted, so he was using it for rattling antlers. And I went up to Kim's place, and right by his blind, these were laying outside in the grass. And I'm going, what in the world were you doing leaving them out? Well, he said they're kind of cumbersome, so I decided I'd just leave them there. Come on, Kim. Anyway, great story. That is a nice deer.
Well, my pile here is the notorious not big enough to mount, so Dad boils the skulls and makes them look all pretty. I shot this one of my first years up in Kansas City area, in the city limits, where it's bow hunting only. So they die of old age up there or get hit by cars. House is right nearby, and the deer are a little more used to people, but they're still deer and do what deer do. But I was lucky enough to get this guy. He scored 167, just a little more on the brow tines. He would have been a booner, but still happy as heck. And then this is another one, not big enough to make the wall. Cactus Jack, mainframe 8 with, I don't know if you want to call that a second main beam and just a bunch of trash, giant bases. I shot him with a muzzleloader, I think when I was in my 20s, and I was actually shaking so bad, I missed him at like 100 yards with the muzzleloader. So I reloaded, packed the muzzleloader, and then killed him at 250 with the muzzleloader. Luckily, we trimmed the tree, and there was a perfect V in the tree where he was at. So I was able to get rock solid and hammer him at 250 and missed him at 100, but got it done somehow. Another muzzleloader deer.
Cody seems to have great luck early, and I have no luck till later.
I love the early season hunt, but I haven't picked up a muzzleloader for 10 years. Bow Madness only now. He scored 163, I think. And then this was doesn't score much, but he was a giant bodied deer I shot up in Kansas City. And I was thinking, I said, maybe he wasn't that old. But then Dad said, look at his skull and how big his skull is compared to the deer around here. And he's like the skull is twice as big as this one.
We never got him aged, but he is an old deer, you can tell. His head is just huge.
I had a decoy out in front because I was self-filming and knew that was the highest probability I would have to get him in front of me, and he didn't like it for whatever reason and circled behind me, and I had to shoot over a limb, and I'm not sure how I got it done, but I did. Doesn't always have to be about how big they are, but just about the maturity and the uniqueness and, about the hunt in general.
That's what I always try to instill in everybody. If you just have the opportunity at something that's mature, you've succeeded, So there's nothing better than taking out an old warrior. I've got a deer in the pile here we call a bully over at Troy Dawson's, and that deer was fighting in the creek, literally fighting in the creek, and then come chasing a doe right up a side hill. And he didn't have that much of a rack, but he was like 9 years old, Got him in the daylight. After he did his big fight in the creek crossing with this other buck, he come chasing the doe right up, and I got him at 10 yards. So, and what was really cool is I got to watch him roll down the hill after I shot him. The double drop tine deer was taken just west of here, just a few miles. It was kind of an exciting day, I think. My friend Chad Johnson and several guys were actually rifle hunting, and that deer surfaced out of a draw, and it was guns blazing. And if you'll look at the horns on the one side, one of the guys shooting at it nicked the horn, and they said they saw this biggest poof of dust fly off this deer's head you ever seen. It almost shot the horn in two. The one next to it, I had taken just right down the road here. That was an exciting day. I will remember that deer because I couldn't believe I did it. I saw this deer and some does go across the road and go up in this draw, and I thought, I bet I can do a spot and stalk, which you rarely can pull that off with a buck that has that many does with him. So I did a big end around, came up over the hill one step at a time. It was rifle season, one step at a time, and I was lucky enough to get the shot. So it's a really nice deer. Dennis Tyson's grandfather killed this one right here. Dennis took him over by Waverly, and they took that deer, I believe, within 2 miles of Dennis's farm. Yeah, I think that's so, but anyway, a great representation of deer that are local. here in Kansas, and we're lucky enough to have some of them on the wall. Makes a great kind of accountability for what we have here in the area.